Thank you and welcome everybody. It's great to have you here this evening. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on Biripi land, pay my respect to the Biripi elders both past, present and emerging, and also pay respect to all other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be with us today. Thanks for joining us. This is a session on the Community Strategic Plan and how it fits into the Integrated Planning and Reporting legislation. With me today I have Liz Brennan, who is the Engagement Manager here at Port Macquarie Hastings Council. And I'm Lucilla Marshall for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the Group Manager of Community. So we are here to talk about the Community Strategic Plan, which is part of the Local Government Act's Integrated Planning and Reporting Framework. So that came into being in 2012, and every council in New South Wales has to develop a Community Strategic Plan and has to align themselves with the Integrated Planning and Reporting Framework. So the integrated approach to strategic operational planning, it identifies the resources that we need to deliver things to our community and also provides the ongoing monitoring, measuring and engagement that we do with the community to ensure that we deliver a great community outcome. So the Community Strategic Plan is a plan that reflects the aspirations and priorities of our community from now and into the future. It is usually set at a 10-year to 30-year timeframe. We do Community Strategic Plan engagement usually every 10 years, and then a delivery program every 4 years to align with the new council set. But the last time we did key engagement around our Community Strategic Plan was back in 2008. So we're really keen to hear from the community and understand what their aspirations for the future are and how to set the direction for what we do together into the future. So what is the Community Strategic all about? It is the highest level plan that we develop as a council. The purpose is to identify those priorities and aspirations of the future for our community and how to achieve those goals. It informs our strategic decision making and it helps us shape the future for our community and the environment. We need to understand what is important for the community to enhance the community values and to make sure that we maintain everything that is unique to our region. The plan paves the way for the future, anticipating changes and impacts and how to manage those changes on our community, our economy and the environment. The plan aims to achieve inclusivity, sustainability and innovation in service delivery. So how do we turn the vision into action? So as I mentioned, the Community Strategic Plan sits at the top of the council work. Above that is the state plans and our regional plans, and that drives some of our thinking, but the majority of it is driven, as you can see by the blue circle around the diagram. That also then drives our delivery program. So the delivery program is the 4-year program that aligns with the councillors as they come in. It identifies priority projects, programs, and also identifies those key performance indicators and targets that contribute to creating the vision that is decided through the Community Strategic Plan. As part of the Community Strategic Plan, we also need to develop a resource plan. So the resource plan includes the long-term financial plan, it includes the workforce strategy, our ongoing asset management plans, but as I said before, all of that is about listening and hearing from the community throughout each part of that process. For the integrated planning and reporting to work, we need the community's input to every stage of our processes. Also, over the last 24 months, we have been developing our community planning process. So that's working with our towns, villages, remote communities to develop their visions for their little places and spaces and the actions to achieve those. So we've worked with our 12 communities out in Rollins Plains, Telegraph Point, as well as Kew Kendall, Camden Haven, Laurelton, Warhope, the Hastings Valley and Hastings hinterland, so Long Flat, Mount Seaview people, as well as right out to Papenborough and the surrounds. So they have determined their vision for their places and spaces, as well as some actions that has been inputted into the Community Strategic Planning development, and we continue to work with those communities to achieve those actions over the next 5 years. So it's been a really great intro into community strategic planning, as well as ensuring that we get some of those visions set up. So why is it important and how do you get involved? Well, as I said, the Community Strategic Plan is the most important engagement we do in the next 10 years because it does set the future direction for our community. It also allows us to ensure that we can get people to come along to our engagement sessions. We want you to participate in surveys. We want you to jump on our website and have your say in our Have Your Say portal. It ensures that we hear from the community and it's not about council telling, it's actually about us listening to the themes, the ideas, the actions and the vision for what you would like to see for the future. So I'm going to hand over to Liz now, and she's going to talk about all the things that we've done to date for the Community Strategic Plan, and then what's coming up that you can get involved in so that we can actually influence change in our place.
Well, it's certainly been a busy time since I've come on board. So in November and December, we developed an engagement approach about how we would go out to the community and how we would collect the information and listen to what they were saying. And then in January, we launched the Think 2050 engagement, and people would have seen us out at Lake Cat-Eye down at the Community Day. We were out on Town Green for Australia Day. And then in February, we went and found 20 local people that represented the community, you know, across ages, different backgrounds, different locations, you know, people that could be our spokespeople for the community and also take the message of the Community Strategic Plan and why it was so important into the community. Really fabulous bunch of people. They're very excited. And we talked to them about what was the Community Strategic Plan and how people could become involved in the process. And then in March, you know, world news, COVID hit, and we had to suspend all of those out and about engagement activities, and we had to come back into the office like everybody did, or back into our homes, and we had to rethink how we were going to engage with the community because all those traditional methods had suddenly been taken away. So what we've done instead is we've gone into the community space in a virtual way. And, you know, we've learnt so much in this space and we've connected with so many people. It's been a really rewarding experience. So we've had 6 different focus group discussions on Zoom in lunchtimes during the week. We've had a youth forum. We're running a Minecraft competition where the local youth are building communities of the future in Minecraft, which is a really exciting new project that we're working on. And we've been planning for Future Think, which we'll explain a little bit more of down the track. So in terms of what have we heard so far, we've had over 200 people complete our online survey, and if you haven't done so, please jump online and do that for us. That's on the Have Your Say website. We've had over 200 people fill out idea postcards. That was in the early days when we had post boxes and people could touch things out in the community, so providing their details and also information about their vision for the future. Over 200 people attend the focus groups, which was really exciting, and we've also been throwing some social media posts out there and encouraging people to start talking about future ideas for the space. So that's been really exciting. And here's just a really quick snapshot of some of the things that we've heard. One of the phrases that we did really like, I think it came up a week or two ago, was to be the most livable city in Australia, which is, you know, such a great aspiration because, yes, there's growth and development, but at the heart of it, there's people and there's our community, and it's about, you know, well-being and creating a sustainable community. But you can have a quick read there. There's lots of talk about the environment, you know, walking, transport, cycling, so all the things that make our community unique and special.
We also, in February, March, earlier this year, we wanted to understand what our young people were thinking. So we surveyed 200 young people about their ideas for the future and what they would like their town to be. They talked a lot about open spaces, the environment, and what it would look like to be in 2050. So there were some really great ideas coming from them, and that was then compounded through our youth summits that we had earlier this week. We had 16 schools involved, 160 students, and they came up with some fabulous ideas. So this was another one where we had to pivot and change our approach. So originally this was a Youth Week activity back in April. We worked with the Great Possify group to come up with an approach that we could do virtually. So these were virtual conferences that were held on Monday and Tuesday. 4 hours of these students coming up with fantastic ideas about what the future could look like, how they could be involved. Some of those ideas included things like community farms around sustainable farming and securing food, to solar cars and solar batteries or solar roads, to under ocean walking paths, which was really amazing. So, and that was just the primary school kids. So really great feedback from our young people, and looking forward to sharing some of that information through our future summits as well in the next coming weeks. Also, through our community engagement, we've found some really key emerging themes to date. So through the focus groups and our surveys, our community is starting to tell us what the themes are. So things like managing our growth into the future and what we can do with that. How do we get around and how do we connect with each other is really important. And that active transport, so cycling, pedestrian paths, how do we connect to each other but and not necessarily using our cars so much. So from a sustainability perspective, how do we create a sustainable future for all? How do we make sure that the reason that we live here, our beautiful environment, is protected? And that people can enjoy the beauty of our place for the next, 100, 200, 300 years. And most of all, too, how do we look after our people, their well-being? How do we support them? How do we retain our young people and look for opportunities, whether that's in business or industry? So they're the key emerging themes that we've got at the moment, and they're really exciting and hoping to guide the way that we do work into the future.
So next steps.
Next steps, lots of them.
Today we're sitting here talking to you about the Community Strategic Plan and how that fits into the Integrated Planning and Reporting Framework. And then on the 29th of September, we've got the first of our Future Think Summits. Originally we had planned to deliver these in March on one evening. However, we've split it over 2 nights and we'll be live streaming these events, one on the 29th of September and one on the 1st of October, to Facebook and as also to YouTube, to allow everybody in the community to experience it. And then in October, we're going to be having a roundtable session, which at the moment possibly will also be virtual due to the ongoing situation that we find our world in. And we'll be working through all of the feedback and the emerging themes that we've had and, sort of coming together with a vision for the Community Strategic Plan and also those key themes. Then in November, we get down into the nuts and bolts of the Community Strategic Plan, because it's one thing to have a vision and one thing to have themes, but how do we get there and how do we achieve those things? So it's sitting down with the community and talking about what are these actions and how are we going to set out about achieving this future for Think 2050. And then in December and January, we'll be going out again for more broad engagement about this is what we've heard and this is what we've come up with, and what do you think?
Future Think. So there's lots to talk about in Future Think, but we really wanted to focus on the people that are coming. So Liz has got some really great information about our wonderful speakers that are coming on Tuesday, so I'll get her to share that.
Yep. So on Tuesday, we've got Melissa Neighbour, who's from a company called Future Crunch. Melissa is an urban designer, specialises in sustainable developments, and she'll be talking about cities and the development of cities and regions and towns and villages, because with development, naturally comes issues and problems that we need to look at and solve. So she'll be taking us on a round the world journey to actually look at how people are dealing and grappling with these things and looking for some of the best solutions out there. So taking it back to a really local level. Following Melissa, we've got Joshua, who is part of the United Nations Australia, and he'll be talking about the Sustainable Development Goals, which is about development in terms of humans and how we maintain well-being for the community, as we grow and develop and move into the future. So they'll be having a discussion at grassroots level. What does that mean? And how do we as a community, make sure that we can travel with the change in a good way for our community? And then on Thursday, it's all about the community. We're putting a number of our community centre stage, and so we'll be having a panel discussion with our local people about what are their big ideas for the future. And Lucilla will be moderating that, and we'll love you to be on Facebook or on YouTube and actually also sharing your ideas with it so we can discuss that on the evening. So I think that'll be a really fantastic, inspiring time for us.
Absolutely. So as Liz mentioned earlier, this is all about developing the Community Strategic Plan and hearing your thoughts, your ideas and your voices. So that will continue all the way up until June 2022, which is the drop dead date that we need to have the Community Strategic Plan, the delivery program and the operational plan adopted by our new council laws. So after we've done the roundtables, as Liz suggested, we will test the themes, visions and actions. We will then work with council staff, councillors and our 2050 ambassadors to refine that draft document and seek feedback. After that, we will work with the community on the draft Community Strategic Plan and understand if we've got it right, if we've missed bits, what else needs to be in it so that we can get it endorsed by June next year. That will then be presented to our new set of councillors that will be elected in September 2021, and we will work with them from October to March 2022 on finalising the delivery program and the operational plan so that that can be adopted by the June 2022 that I talked about. So that's really, in a nutshell, what the Community Strategic Plan is and how it relates to the integrated planning and reporting legislation. What we've done from an engagement perspective to date and what we're planning to do into the future. So happy to hear your questions if you have any, but would really encourage you to get involved in all the opportunities to be engaging with council on this really important document, but also tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell your networks, get involved so that we can hear that broad spectrum of ideas and hear from people of all different interests in our local government area.